every type of career has war stories. Still, it's not hard to believe that you would find unique kind of stories in politics. And that's what Jerry Austin has done. He's brought together a bunch of behind-the-scenes stories about elections, leaders, and the democratic process, and bound them in his book, True Tales from the Campaign Trail, stories only political consultants can tell. Today, Jerry has elected to join us and share the winning results. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I thought I'd first tell you a story about one of my most famous campaigns, Jesse Jackson for president in 1988. He had run in 1984. And what you learn is that you have to establish credibility initially with the press corps. He never ran a TV spot in 1984, so it was important in 1988 that we go on TV early, and early meant Iowa, which is the first contest. So I took him to a studio, put him in front of a camera, wrote a 30-second spot. He was terrible.
Oh,
because
no.
his forte is talking to thousands of people for a half an hour, not for 30 seconds.
Right.
So I said, what am I going to do now? I went back to Chicago where my office was. I found a videotape on my desk, which I'd never seen before, ran it and found that there were two farmers who had said Jesse Jackson was who they were supporting for president in Iowa. I made that into a spot, ran it in every state that we had farmers in, and they all thought that those farmers were from their state. They weren't, they were from Missouri. And later on, I was in New York and ran into some guy named Spike Lee. He wasn't as famous as he is now, but he said, I would like to do a TV spot for Mr. Jackson, and I'd like you to write it, and I'll direct it, and we'll produce it together. And I thought, well, Jesse Jackson's not good at 30 seconds to the camera. This is Spike Lee.
He's got to be able to make him look good, right?
Yeah, he was, he was the best at the time. And so we did this spot. I put it on the air, and he called me up and said, how are we doing? I said, I took it off. He said, what do you mean you took it off? I said, people were calling up the TV station saying Jesse Jackson looks too big because he's a big man and you have to put a flak jacket on, and then, as you know, you photograph 15 pounds heavier on TV. So he said to me, I'm shocked. I said, well, he's not very good to the camera. He said, how do you know that? I said, I tried it in Iowa. He said, well, why didn't you tell me that? I said, because you're Spike Lee. And he said, well, you're Jerry Austin. You should have known better. You should have told me. So he never went on 30 seconds.
Oh, well. But he just continued to run his campaign a different way then. And some candidates on the trail have very specific requests as to maybe hotel details.
We could call it a specific request. Some of these folks are goofy. And this one story is from a consultant named Gary South. The Senate race he was doing in Illinois for a candidate named Alex Seif. And this guy insisted that whenever they were on the road, he has to have a room with 2 double beds. Was there another person in the room? No, he had a room with 2 double beds. So they arrive at some small town at 2 or 3 in the morning, and greeted by the staff, and they were very happy to say, we've upgraded you, to a suite with a king size bed. Oh, no, I have to have a double beds in my room. I have to have double beds. And he calls up the scheduler at 2 o'clock in the morning, wherever she was housed, asking her to fix this. And he said, she said, well, you're there, you fix it. And he eventually, acquiesced to having, a king size bed, and didn't understand they were just basically upgrading him.
Yeah. Some people are crazy like that. You've got another story here. We have just room for one more.
Well, this story is about Tip O'Neill, famous Speaker of the House. And by the way, one of the people I've met in my life that lived up to every expectation of what I wanted him to be. He was a wonderful human being. But Tip O'Neill believed that all politics was local. And what he would do when he was running for Congress is, if there was an older woman on his block, he would shovel her walk and shovel her driveway whenever it snowed. And one day, election day, he said, well, Mrs. Ryan, did you vote for me? And she said, no, I didn't vote for you, Tip. You didn't vote for me? Well, why not? He said, because you never asked me to vote for you. And that was a lesson that many politicians have learned: always ask for the vote.
Absolutely. And you've got lots more stories like that in your book, huh?
Lots.
All right. From small-town campaigns to presidential politics, True Tales from the Campaign Trail celebrates the best and funniest stories of American politics, shared by the people who have made politics their life's work. My thanks to Jerry Austin for telling a few of those tales to us today. Thanks.
Thank you.
To learn more about Tales from the Campaign Trail or to order the book, call University of Akron Press at 800-247-6553 or visit www.uakron.edu/UA Press.